You have to finish at what time? About 10 to for the next class? That's fast. I've got about 3 minutes. Second article is about a big research project that was done in England by Dylan William and a whole lot of other people into what makes an effective teacher of numeracy. They looked at teachers over a whole year. They looked at students' achievements tests, so that's like NAPLAN results. You all know what NAPLAN is, the data that tests that kids do. They looked at that, they observed lessons, they talked to teachers. They found a whole lot of things that made no difference to how well kids did in maths. It actually didn't make much difference how they organised their class, whether it was small groups or whole groups or mixed ability or ability groups. It doesn't actually make that much difference. Surprise, surprise, it actually doesn't make much difference how much you write down in your lesson plan whether you're a good maths teacher or not. It makes almost no difference. Which isn't to say that when you go out on prac you don't plan lessons. Of course you do plan lessons. But don't think that that's what teaching maths is about, because it's not. It actually doesn't make much difference what materials and resources people used. It also didn't matter how much maths people had done, whether they'd done university maths or not, actually didn't make a lot of difference to how good they were as a maths teacher. This is what did make a difference. Teachers' beliefs about maths and learning, and extended engagement by teachers with mathematical ideas. So in this unit we're going to have extended engagement with mathematical ideas. Read the article and you'll see what we mean. They found out when they did their research, they identified 3 different types of teachers. Teachers who did what I'm doing now, basically, which is stand at the front and tell things. They transmitted the information. Some of those teachers are actually quite effective. There is a place for transmitting information. There's a place for having a lecture about maths. It's actually a good thing to do. I like having lectures. I've actually got something to tell you. So's Ian. And I don't apologise for that. Transmitting is actually a useful thing to do. Discovery teachers were the ones who were what the nice word that everybody uses, facilitators of learning. I actually hate that phrase. Of course we facilitate learning, but we teach as well. These were people who put all their emphasis on kids doing things and we just help out. But the ones that were most effective were what they called connections teachers. The teachers who set about making connections, who said, I've got something to tell you, here's how something fits with something else, and they valued those sorts of things there. We can talk more about that in the tutorial. So that's what the connections teachers did. They made connections between different aspects of maths, between different ways of representing mathematics. This and the algorithm on the board, that's connectionist teaching. They made connections with the way children did things, so when Ian asked you for different ways of doing things and made the connections, that's part of being a connections teacher. This is what one of them said. I think you've got to know that they're inverse operations and that these are linked because when you're solving problems you're all the time making links between multiplication, division, addition, subtraction and so on. Alan said, I want them to be able to give not just an answer but to explain what they're doing, looking for those links and being adventurous. So connectionist teachers values teacher and student knowledge, values learning over performing. It's not about getting right answers, it's about learning something. So here's the message from today. So what? It's not how much maths you know that matters, it's how well you understand it. And being able to respond effectively to what children say actually requires a deep understanding of mathematics, which is what we're particularly looking at. Unlike the Peanuts cartoon. I'm gone. 9 times 12 does it again. And that's the final word from, or almost final word from Bruna, and there's one for me. Bruna said, maths should feel like something a child already knows rather than something that's totally unfamiliar. The end product shouldn't be formalism with an emphasis on mathematical language, but the confidence gained from realising that maths is something he or she has been thinking all along. And let me assure you, every child can think mathematically from a very early age. So our job is to draw that out. And my last comment is that. Now, thank you for listening. We've got lots of people who want to come to today's tute. We've got a few for each of the 2 tutes tomorrow, but we've only got 2 for the 4 o'clock tute. Can those 2 people, Megan and Chris, can you come to the 1 o'clock tute, or is that impossible?
The 4 o'clock, isn't that the secondary middle?
Well, it says it is, but...
I was only going to that one. I didn't choose it, but I was going to that. It said middle, specifically.
Who are the 4 o'clock people? Are you going to be upset if we change it? Good. Can you come at 1 o'clock instead tomorrow? Beautiful. Because there's no point in having 3 tutes if we don't need them, and it doesn't seem like the numbers warranted. So maybe those people who put down as their first preference today can come to room 51, blue 5151. That's in the big corridor in blue building. There's also another room 5151 which is someone's office, don't go there. And then everyone who's put down tomorrow can come at 1 o'clock tomorrow to whatever room it says on the timetable. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Anne.